a day meant for roses, laughter, and family love. Instead, a small Virginia home turned into a house of blood and sorrow. A 17-year-old boy named Levi Norwood, once seen as quiet and ordinary, murdered his mother, a woman who raised him, and his 6-year-old brother, an innocent child with no defense against the bullets. He then lay in wait, ambushing his father the moment he stepped through the door with flowers in his hand and gifts for his family. The father barely survived, shot in the head and hand. Levi fled, sparking a desperate manhunt across states until he was captured, attempting to disguise himself. But what made a teenager turn on his own family in such a brutal, calculated way? The answer is both shocking and heartbreaking. His family refused to let him love, refused to let him live, all because his girlfriend was black. This is the untold crime that reveals not only murder, but the deadly grip of racism still alive in America.
We begin tonight with a Fox 5 exclusive. We are learning more about the teenager accused of killing his own mother and young brother in Fauquier County as he sits behind bars tonight in North Carolina.
And tonight, the family is sharing personal information about that teen. Fox 5's Ann Cutler's in the newsroom with those exclusive details. Ann?
Well, there's still no word on a motive, but tonight we are learning more about the background of this young suspect. 17-year-old Levi Norwood was captured Saturday in North Carolina after allegedly murdering his own family and leading police on a nearly 24-hour multi-state manhunt. I spoke exclusively with a family member who says what happened Friday was completely out of character for Levi and is raising questions about the violent crime.
It doesn't make sense. It's scary. It's traumatizing. It's life-altering. It's just going to be a long, long time. I will say that it was not an easy home life for him. And my heart is just broke. But I want to hear what Levi has to say.
Now, Norwood has a court appearance in North Carolina Tuesday where his attorneys will address his extradition back to Virginia. He faces 2 counts of murder as a juvenile, but police say those charges are expected to change. Now, he is accused of murdering his mother, Jen, 34 years old, and his 6-year-old brother, Wyatt, on Friday night. That led to a manhunt throughout Fauquier County, and he was finally arrested in North Carolina at a Target store there. He had a number of items in his possession. He was allegedly shoplifting there. He had hair dye, clothing, and a backpack. Here is what the local police had to say.
It's probably as bad as it gets, and it's really affected this community. Not just the search, the manhunt, if you will, for Levi in that area. You know, the neighbors not knowing if he's armed and dangerous out there in that neighborhood hiding. Just that apprehension and fear and folks that reside in that area, and now to come to grips with this tragedy, it's as bad as it gets.
Now, Levi is accused of murdering, as I mentioned, both his mother and his younger brother. He's also accused of shooting his father, Josh. I had the opportunity to speak with family about him. They said that he is doing well, healing physically, but mentally and emotionally, that's a different story. Back to you.
The father of the Fauquier County teenager accused of murdering his mother and brother is making his first public comments. On the website, Fauquier Now, Josh Norwood wrote about what happened the minute he arrived at his Midland, Virginia home last Friday. Fox 5's Paul Wagner here has been examining those comments, joining us live. Paul.
Hey, Sarah. Josh Norwood says every piece of his heart and soul died Friday night after finding his wife and 6-year-old son dead inside their house. In a post written in the website's comments section, Norwood says he arrived home with flowers for his wife and gifts for his 2 boys when he was suddenly shot. First, listen to what the Fauquier County dispatcher tells deputies rushing to the scene.
At this time, we have possibly the mother and the son are deceased. The other one is in the house. The one who did the shooting and in the collar is the father. He has an eye injury, we believe, and then also his hand.
Now, Josh Norwood wrote, "I opened my door, and before my work bag hit the floor, I was shot in the head. not realizing what happened until I saw blood pouring out. I then searched for my family and found Jen and Wyatt dead. The murderer I called a son until that act must have ran once he heard me yell, as he knew his ambush shot failed. Now, Fauquier County investigators say Levi Norwood, possibly armed with a 9mm pistol, killed his mother and brother before shooting his father and running from the house. Investigators say he then walked 10 miles before stealing a Toyota Camry that had the keys inside and a full tank of gas. The 17-year-old was arrested the next day at a Target store in Durham, North Carolina, where police say he was attempting to shoplift hair dye and other items. He's waived his right to an extradition hearing and is expected back in Virginia sometime this week. The motive is still unclear, but writing on Fauquier Now, Norwood addressed another writer's claim that Levi Norwood, the teen, may have made threats at the school he was attending. No, the murderer that was once known as my son was not investigated for threats. He was not known as a troublemaker, and no red flags for us as parents to know otherwise. This could have been prevented. He went on to say Jen was an amazing wife and mother who loved her boys more than anything and would do anything for them to help them and protect them. Now, a spokesperson for the Fauquier County Sheriff's Office say they have no information Levi Norwood was ever investigated for making threats at school, and they are still investigating the motive to the shooting. Detectives have so far been unable to question Levi because of state rules regarding juveniles in North Carolina. One other note, Norwood says there will be a service for his wife and son on Sunday. We're now trying to confirm that.
This case is more than just a family tragedy. It is a mirror exposing the deep cracks in a society that claims progress, while racism still quietly lives inside homes. A child should never feel that love is forbidden because of the color of someone's skin. The Norwood family's refusal to allow interracial love was not discipline, it was not protection, it was control and prejudice disguised as parenting. And instead of nurturing a son, they built a wall between him and happiness, a wall that eventually collapsed into bloodshed. Let us be clear, no amount of parental authority justifies instilling hate or fear into children. What this family chose to enforce was not values, but chains, and those chains destroyed them from the inside. When racism guides family rules, it does not preserve honor. It brings death, shame, and destruction. The painful lesson here is that hate, when planted in the heart of a family, will grow wild and uncontrollable. A father and mother's prejudice taught their son that love was dangerous, that affection across racial lines was forbidden. But love is not a crime. The attempt to block it did not erase Levi's feelings. It only transformed them into rage. When parents try to bend the human heart to fit the shape of their fear, tragedy follows. Families must learn that guiding children means teaching compassion, teaching respect, and teaching strength, not locking them into old cages of bias. What happened in Fauquier County is not only about one boy's violence, it is a message for every parent. You cannot kill love with threats, and when you try, you risk killing everything else around you. We must open our eyes to the reality that racism is not always loud, not always seen in rallies or public acts. Sometimes it sits at the dinner table, whispered in rules, passed down as warnings, disguised as tradition. But it is no less poisonous when it is private. The Norwood family lived in a community where racism had long roots, where Confederate flags and prejudice were familiar sights. That environment shaped parents who thought they were defending family honor by rejecting interracial love. Instead, they sowed destruction that cost them their own lives. Awareness means seeing racism for what it is, not just a societal wound, but a personal curse that breaks homes apart, traumatizes children, and in this case, turned Valentine's Day into a massacre. If we do not confront the racism inside our families and communities, it will continue to claim lives in silence. The reports, and Levi's own words, reveal the core of the conflict. His parents told him outright that dating a black girl was unacceptable. They threatened him with violence, saying he would face deadly consequences if he continued. They framed it as family protection, but it was pure racial hatred, inherited and enforced like a law in their home. To Levi, his girlfriend was not a threat. She was comfort, love, and support. To his parents, she represented shame and betrayal, not because of her character, but because of her skin. That toxic thinking, rooted in generations of racism, turned a teenage romance into the spark for bloodshed. Levi said during interrogation, "Mom and Dad wanted to remove my girlfriend, so they had to go." That is the devastating reality of why this crime happened. Not over drugs, not over money, but over skin color, over love forbidden by racism. This is Untold Crime Chronicles. Subscribe now, share this story, and help us reach 1,000 subscribers so we can keep exposing the truths that others leave hidden.